Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a watch launched in 2020 in only 50 pieces. In stainless steel with diamond-like carbon coating, this is the Moser Cie Endeavour Tourbillon Black Hands. It's the Endeavour Tourbillon Vantablack Black Hands, to be precise, and incorporates both elements. What was not Moser's first use of Vantablack dial on a Endeavour Tourbillon, here we have the trifecta of black case, black dial, and black hands for an all blacked out look. They've even blacked out the cage of the tourbillon carriage. So the watch is easy to wear. It's one of the lightest Moser pieces, as it is not made of precious metal, 42 millimeters in diameter, only 11.9 millimeters thick, and 48.4 millimeters from lug to lug across the wrist. Now you can see the watch wears quite nicely on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. It has a wonderfully shaped case back, and I'll show you this. You can see that the case back itself is somewhat cupped and curved, and then you have these tightly curved lugs underneath the case, so the watch wraps around the wrist, and I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters in circumference. It's also quite low, with a sloped bezel and a relatively thin profile. This is an easy timepiece to wear on the wrist and on the wrist below a sleeve. So while it is a little bit stark, it could very much fit beneath a dress cuff. Taking one last look down the barrel. The strap is upscale, and as you can see, Moser specs it well. Here we have a strap with a curved spring bar, so you can see that the lugs are drilled close to the case. Note that their pivot centers are considerably inboard of the lug tips, so you can have that close-hauled drilling with the fit that comes with it, the good fit, and then you can also have a full range of motion if you use a curved spring bar. So here's the strap, large rectangular scale alligator leather. You can see it's got a little bit of a distressed pattern to it. It is a matte black with a sheer cut edge, a monotone stitch, and a lovely red suede on the bottom. The buckle, unconventionally for Moser, is a deployant clasp, and you can see it is a twin trigger deployant clasp. So you have to press those two triggers to release the first side of the buckle, and then the second side opens up. So it's a double fold trigger release, and then you will appreciate that, like the watch itself, this is in steel and coated with diamond-like carbon. Quick clarity about these coated cases. PVD means physical vapor deposition. So physical vapors are deposited on the case. But the material is not PVD. PVD is the process. The material here is diamond-like carbon, which means it is extraordinarily hard and virtually immune to conventional scratches and swirls. In my experience, it ages very nicely. The case also includes a surprising amount of nuance. As you can see, Moser has both polished and satinated components on this case. Moser also machines and then hand finishes its cases. That's how you can get these deeply scalloped profiles. That's not something you can easily do with, for example, stamped case manufacturing or purely machining without hand finishing. Machined and hand finished creates the sculptural beauty of this case. And you'll appreciate we have a concave bezel that swells, broader at 12 and 6. It has a wonderfully fluid form. We've got a crown with the Moser M externally and a sharp knurling on its side. The dial. Well, we may as well talk about the tourbillon first, but we'll get to Vantablack very shortly. The tourbillon is Moser's signature flying tourbillon, so it has no upper bridge to block your view, which means it's easier to appreciate. You can also see that here the upper component of the cage, the upper cage, has been blackened to match the dial. Now we have two flat hairsprings. We have one, two. They're held by black polished stud holders. This is a free sprung balance for toughness and precise adjustment, but we have two hairsprings 180 degrees opposed, so that when one, due to the effects of gravity, is speeding up the balance, the other will, by an equal and opposite margin, slow down the balance, thus achieving true chronometric intent, which is always the goal of a tourbillon, though few wristwatch format tourbillon achieve what Abraham Louis Breguet originally intended for the pocket watch tourbillon. The pocket watch tourbillon only works static in one position in the pocket, whereas with the twin horizontally opposed hairsprings, this wristwatch tourbillon will cancel out the effects of gravity in any position. You can also appreciate that it beats away at 6 beats per second, and it is a 1-minute tourbillon, so it can effectively act as a seconds hand. Take a look, and you'll appreciate that the degree of finishing here on this tourbillon cage itself is significantly higher than the rest of the movement. So Moser knows to save its best for the element that you're going to see full time. And you can even see that the bridge below the hairspring and the balance on which the anchor and the escape wheel are mounted, those two have been satinated and beveled. Flipping it all over, you can see that, let's see what I can show you here. The underside of the tourbillon, you can see that its lower bridge, which is its only bridge, has also been blackened. And if you look carefully, you can see that it uses ceramic rotor bearings instead of a jeweled pivot for the tourbillon. So it is a very low friction, durable, and technically advanced mechanism, a flying tourbillon that sits on ceramic bearings. You can also see that the rotor at center, which winds bidirectionally, sits on ceramic bearings for the same reason. We have a magic lever style bidirectional quickset. The watch has a 72-hour power reserve, and you'll note some finishing elements that are distinctive of Moser. We have a barrel bridge that's designed to look like a 3/4 style bridge, paying homage to the pocket watch era of Moser watch construction. You can also see double-crested, double-wave Côte de Genève satination on the crown wheel core. All screw heads are black polished. We have machined bevels, which are obviously finished by mechanical means, but attractive and neat. We have satination on the wheels, and you can see the teeth of the crown wheel have been polished, and the click itself with the fixing screw black polished. There's also double finish at the center of the rotor. We have circular satination, solarization, and then I guess third finish would be the black polishing of the screws, all of this water resistant down to 30 meters. So reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.